I am here to talk about City and Chelsea. I'm not here to talk about Arsenal. But there's no way I'm going to talk about Chelsea and Manchester City without talking about Arsenal. Arsenal fans, e don red o. E don red o. At this point, it is now 6 points, and if Manchester City wins their next 2 games, it is going to be on same points, and any team who loses one match in the end of the season or draw points is just as good as saying goodbye to the league. But let's talk about today's game. It is now clear that Manchester City are serious to win the league, and for Chelsea they are unserious to qualify for the Champions League. It is now clear. This game was a game against boys, or it was a game for boys against men. You could see the levels. You could see the levels for Manchester City against Chelsea. The levels are too clear. The levels are too wide. Imagine Pep Guardiola has not lost against Chelsea since 2021. Now you could see how the level has dropped. You could see how the level has dropped. Chelsea last season was even so competitive. It would be a very big shame, right, if any Chelsea fan is actually expecting Chelsea to lose today or wanting Chelsea to lose today. There's a difference between you expecting Chelsea to lose and there's a difference between you wanting Chelsea to lose. Why? It's because of Arsenal. Are you forgetting rather that Chelsea needs to qualify for the Champions League? Does it not occur to you that it's not about Arsenal, it's about you yourself as a Chelsea fan? Have you forgotten that you need to also qualify for the Champions League? It's a total disaster. Chelsea lost this game under 60 minutes. Under 1 hour, Chelsea has already lost this game. That is how the levels have been for Manchester City against Chelsea. And it's a total disgrace to me. It's a total disgrace. Enzo Fernandez spoke up. Enzo spoke up last week concerning the levels at Chelsea, how uncompetitive Chelsea has been after the sack of Maresca. You won the Club World Cup. You should ride on that trophy of you winning the Club World Cup and winning the Conference League and sign competitive players. Take a look at Chelsea. Take a look at Chelsea. Chelsea had an opportunity to sign Chelsea in the summer, but they went into the market and they signed the likes of Garnacho. They signed the likes of Gittins. They signed the likes of Delap. Now you could see the levels of competition between Chelsea and Manchester City. The levels are too clear. One is fighting for the league, the other one is fighting to qualify for the Champions League. And it's not only 4 teams that are qualifying, it is 5 teams that are going to qualify for the Champions League. And you are struggling to even make top 5. Top 5. It is sad. It is sad to see Chelsea, playing football like this. When Enzo Fernandez spoke up, he got suspended. Now this is the reality of this is the reality of Chelsea. How can you be so happy that you close down Haaland the whole of the game or in the first half and end up losing 3-0 in the second half? If you know Chelsea, if you've watched Chelsea under Raheem Sterling, who to me is not the best person to take over this Chelsea team, if you watch Chelsea under him, you will understand something. That Chelsea are a better team in one half. Only one half in the total game. Take a look at the game against West Ham at home. Chelsea was poor in the first half. The second half, Chelsea came back and won that game 3-2 after going 2 goals down. Take a look at the game against Napoli. Chelsea was poor in the first half. The second half, Chelsea came out and won that game. Look at the game against Wolves. Look at the game against Crystal Palace. This team is a team built for only one half under this coach. And today is another example of that. Under this coach, Chelsea had a team that is built for only one half. Chelsea had a better first half. Chelsea has a fantastic first half, in my own opinion. Yes, the team was defensive. Yes, the team was being conservative. But Chelsea was a better team in terms of attempts, in terms of going forward and trying to create something in attack, even if the most creative players of the team were not creative today. But I'm going to get to that. But to me, I think Chelsea were better in the first half. So what happened in the second half? Why the total collapse? That is the difference between an experienced coach, a coach who knows what he's doing, and a coach who is learning on the job. You cannot tell me you getting experience as a coach from Derby County, Hull City, and Strasbourg. You cannot compete at the level of Pep Guardiola assistant coaches, not to talk of Pep himself. And that is the example of what we are seeing here. It was a total disgrace to me. Today's game was a game for boys against men. Look at the way and the manner Chelsea conceded in quick succession. After they conceded the first goal, in less than few minutes they conceded the second goal. In less than 10 minutes they conceded the third goal. In less than 15 minutes Chelsea collapsed. So if you are talking about a team that can curtail a team like Manchester City, it cannot be Chelsea. The first leg was even better. After the sack of Maresca with the interim coach, the first leg was better. Chelsea got a draw in that stadium at the Etihad. So what happened at Stamford Bridge? The most important game for Chelsea for a long time, Chelsea failed to even pick up something from that game. That's how poor the game was today. What happened to Chelsea's players? What happened to Cole Palmer? Cole Palmer was super poor today. What happened to Estavo William? Estavo was poor today. Those are the most two creative players for Chelsea, and both of them were poor. So if your most creative players are poor and are marked out of the game, what do you expect from the other players? What do you expect? So it was a total disgrace and a total disaster for me, conceding 3 goals in quick succession. Where's the competition? What happens if Aston Villa picks form? Chelsea are not going to qualify for the Champions League. These are the problems. These are the issues. When you have a sporting director that cannot sign players that will match what Chelsea needs right now. Now, take a look at the top 6 teams in the Premier League. Which of those top 6 teams sign players like Chelsea? I'm going to start with Manchester City. They sign players who are experienced. They sign players who are ready to go from the onset. Let's talk about Arsenal. They sign experience. They sign players who are ready to kickstart, who are ready to go from the onset. Let's talk about Manchester United. They knew they had a bad last couple of years, and they went into the market and they signed Premier League proven players who are ready to go at this point. Are we going to talk about Aston Villa? They have signed the experience mixed with youth, and that is what is working for them. Are we going to talk about Liverpool? With the likes of Isak Ekitike, they sign ready-made players who are ready to start and ready to go from the onset. But when it comes to Chelsea, who do they sign? They sign players who are either unproven or players who need years to actually pick up. Is that what you need to be competitive for the top 6? Is that what you need to be competitive for the top 5? Is that what you need to be competitive against the like of PSG in the Champions League, in which Chelsea lost 8-3? Is that the kind of players you need to be competitive at the highest level of football? So these are the problems. If you could perform like this against a Manchester City side in which you know you need to also win that game, then it's a very, very poor one for me. It's a very, very poor one for me. A Doku who has not scored just one goal the whole season in the Premier League for Manchester City, came on and scored for Chelsea today. He scored against Chelsea today. Nico O'Reilly, defender, scored against Chelsea today. McGay, former Chelsea player, scored against Chelsea today. That was how bad it was in today's game. I did not see the competition. I did not see the drive. I did not see the push. I did not see that team that actually wants to get something out of this game. And it all boils down to the coach and the setup and the players themselves. Because how many players in this Chelsea team stepped up? In the second half, most especially. Not just the first half, because football is not only meant for one half. It's meant for both halves. So that's how bad it was today. Now, what are the 5 things we learned from this game? The Chelsea defense was compact in the first half. And I love how Chelsea defense was built in the first half. I love how Chelsea defense dealt with Manchester City in the first half. I love how Chelsea defense restricted Manchester City in the first half. I love how Chelsea defense took the game to Manchester City in the first half. But what happened in the second half? They collapsed. What happened in the second half? They lost concentration. What happened in the second half? The experience could not matter at that point anymore because they do not have it. Kudos to Hato, who did a great job in the first half, who had a good game in my own opinion. Fofana was quite average to me in today's game. Gusto was better in the first half, but in the second half, they just collapsed. The defense just collapsed. So this is not what you need if you would go far in football. Now, what are the second thing we learned today? The Chelsea creative players were absent, like I said in a few minutes ago. The creative spark in this Chelsea team was poor. The creative spark in this Chelsea team was something that I could not even understand. Cole Palmer should have been the most creative player for Chelsea. So what happened? How did they collapse? How did nothing? How many shots on target did Chelsea have? So these are the problems. So these are players who, to me, Kopama has the experience already. But how about Estavao, who got a silly yellow card, by the way? So that was the problem. Now, where did it all collapse for Chelsea? It was in the second half. I expected a team to come out in the second half and do something better. I expected the team to come out in the second half and give Manchester City a run for their money. I expect Chelsea in the second half to come out and give Chelsea a run for their money. And give Manchester City rather a run for their money. But what happened? Chelsea came out and they collapsed. Now, what was said in the dressing room that made Chelsea just collapse? That is the experience between Pep Guardiola and the coaches like this. That's just the difference. Now, what are the next thing? What was the next thing? The fourth thing we learned in today's game. Ryan Cherki is a bowler, and Chelsea missed out on a particular gem in the summer. And this boils down to the sporting directors. Ryan Cherki made us remember that you need to go into the market and sign ready-made players, sign talented players that are ready to go. Not signing players who are meant for the future. The Premier League will not give you that time. The Premier League will not give you that leverage for those players to develop. You are a big club, for crying out loud. You are trying to qualify for the Champions League and compete for the league. You cannot afford to sign players who are not ready to go at this point. And that's the Chelsea's problem. So we saw that with Ryan Cherki. Look at the players Manchester City signed in the summer. Look at Gay, who was the captain of Crystal Palace, who is ready to go from the onset. So if you don't sign such players, how would you compete at the highest level? The Chelsea that won the Conference League, the Chelsea that won the Club World Cup is not the same Chelsea we are seeing right now. The levels have dropped, the standard has dropped, the quality has dropped. And it's the reality. It's the reality. And the last thing we learned today, there was no impact from the bench. Look at the substitutions that came into the game. Look at the substitute. Who would impact the game like that from the bench? Is it Garnacho, who could not beat his man? Is it Delap, who is fond of getting yellow card and nothing to improve on or nothing to take on? Nothing at all. I think he has just 2 Premier League goals this season. Who is that player that is coming from the bench? Immediately Santos was taken off, Chelsea considered the third goal. Why? Because there was no option for Caicedo. There was no option for him at that point. He received the ball, there was no option, he was crowded. Lavia was just coming in, he was trying to settle in. There was no option for him. So that's how poor Chelsea was, trust me. And the substitutions did not go right and did not sit right with me. The biggest losers for today is not Arsenal, it is Chelsea. Yes, I said it. The biggest losers for today is not Arsenal, but it is Chelsea. You have to remove what is in your own eyes before you remove what is in someone else's eyes. You are trying your best to qualify for the Champions League, and you're bothered about Arsenal, who is fighting to win the league, who are levels above you. You have to be realistic. You have to say the truth. Arsenal are competing for the league. You are competing to qualify for the Champions League. The biggest losers are Chelsea. Because if Chelsea have won the games or would have, gone a little bit better in terms of points, closing in the gap with Liverpool, closing in the gap with Aston Villa. So if you think Chelsea losing today's game was a better one because of Arsenal, or because of you, or because of City picking up extra points, because of Arsenal, then you are not realistic. You have to be realistic that it is a dent on Chelsea's future in qualifying for the Champions League. If Chelsea does not qualify for the Champions League, a lot will be at stake. A lot. In terms of losing your best players, in terms of your revenue, in terms of players wanting to come to your club, in terms of the whole project entirely. So Chelsea are the biggest losers tonight, not Arsenal. Not just Arsenal. You have to think about your own self before you think about someone else's. But let me know what you think concerning this game. Who was the man of the match? Who impressed you? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Do Chelsea still stand a chance of qualifying for the Champions League from this point on? Let me know what you think about that. If you're new to this channel, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, join this family. Until I come away again next time, I remain your boy Mike Way. Stay cool. Cheers.